For over 2 decades, Christine Atchison has been a quiet force here at Nudgee behind the scenes when it comes to sport. As our sports injury coordinator and first aid specialist, she has been the steady hand and calm voice that has helped our athletes get through breaks, bruises, and even big wins. In this episode, we sit down with Christine to hear what it's really like to be the first responder on the field, what it was like treating James O'Connor, who went on to become a future star, and how she feels about shaping the culture of care here at Nudgee. Christine, so lovely to have you on the podcast. Now, for those fans who are just listening, tell us a little bit about what you're wearing today.
Well, I'm wearing my standard high-vis polo shirt, which was initiated when I started this role back in 2005.
And you've probably been wearing it almost every day, I bet.
Absolutely. Yes.
Maybe you're known as the high-vis lady on campus.
Possibly.
Now, where have you come from this morning?
From the flats, rugby training in the cold.
Wow.
So it was down on flats 5 and 6, nice and chilly, 3.8 degrees and minus 0.2 feels like temperature.
3.8 degrees. Here's a question. Where is the coldest part of the school, do you think?
That end of the flats.
And who was training down there this morning? Was it rugby, soccer, young kids, older students?
It was rugby, under 11s and under 12s.
Right.
Lots of littlies. But they were very brave, resilient, not too many injuries.
And you're always there for training as well, on call?
Yes, I come in for all the training sessions, morning and afternoon, 4 days a week for each, and then game days on Saturdays.
That's amazing. What do you enjoy more, being there for training or being there for game day?
Oh, I enjoy it all, really. It's all part of the role, and I just love it.
Any niggles or tweaks this morning?
Oh, a couple of little sore toes, and one had a sore back. One got a nasty boot graze to his elbow, but just standard stuff.
Gee, I tell you what, as a parent myself, and I'm sure there's so many parents listening thinking, thank goodness Christine is there at the school, keeping an eye on the kids. So tell me a little bit about your journey working for Nudgee. You came here, I believe, in the year 2000. What was that first role for you when you started working at the school, and sort of how did it come about?
Well, I started as a parent in 2000. My son Cameron started then and finished 2004. And in the meantime, I had applied to work at the health centre, and they took me on 2005, and Peter Todd asked me to come on board and look after the rugby boys in 2005 as well. And I've been doing it ever since.
I remember Peter Todd. He's a legend of the school, an amazing member of the community. So he knew a little bit about you, and he said, come on, Christine, I think I've got a job for you. You're going to be first responder for, 1,000+ students.
Well, yes, it's a bit daunting when I think about it, but I'd been on the sideline at our local rugby club for years, and my son was playing there, Pine Rivers Pumas, and my husband was coaching. And they said, oh, you're a nurse, you can do first aid. And I thought, oh, I don't think so. But anyway, I went and did some sports medicine courses and started my journey there. And Peter got wind of that and had that knowledge, and he used that to invite me on board.
So it is a different skill set from being a nurse into what you're doing now. Is a different set of skills?
Yes, it is to a certain extent, yeah. A lot of basic first aid, but a lot of it's a bit more high-tech too. You have to have the knowledge on how to manage the more serious injuries as well. And there's certain courses that we go through World Rugby for that, and we have to maintain our currency and our competency for that.
I love it. So let's go back through some of your journeys over the years. In our first series of the podcast, we spoke with James O'Connor, who's an Australian Wallaby, a Nudgee legend. But I believe James O'Connor was on your injury list at one stage as well,
He was at
right?
one stage, yes. He was a dynamic little player, so composed and talented. But he did have some fractures in his hand at one point that we had to have a look at, and he had to have some time on the sideline.
Do you remember how he did it? God,
I think he might have been stood on. I'm not quite sure, to be honest.
Yeah, a fracture in his hand. Gee, I wonder how he is today. We should give him a call or text him and find out how that hand fracture's going.
He's playing with the Crusaders, so he's with the right team.
An amazing season for James too, I agree. We'll be back with Christine in just a second. Now, if you do want to hear more about James O'Connor and his time playing on Ross Oval, well, check out episode 6 of our Alma Mater series. You can find this episode and more on our Unscripted, the Nudgee College podcast channel.
I remember our last game of the season, and when I was in grade 12 against Terrace. Yeah, Old Boys Day. I think there was about 10,000 out there. We dusted them up too. It was great. But yeah, look, my time at Nudgee was great. Like, I truly believe it prepared me to be able to do what I did at such a young age, because it was such a good program where it taught me how to manage my time. My best times playing rugby. Still now playing on Ross.
And you told me off camera that you actually went and saw him play in the UK at one stage. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, that was a fantastic tour. Peter Todd organised that as well, and we took 45 boys over to the UK on a development tour, and it was fabulous. We went to the town of Rugby, Oxford, Cambridge. We stayed in Birmingham for a week, went to Warwick, London, had a fabulous time. Freezing cold. It was a real experience for the boys, but we went to Wembley and watched the Wallabies play a Barbarian side, I think, and James O'Connor and Drew Mitchell were playing in that game, and it was one of James's first games in a Wallaby jersey, I think. It's freezing cold, but we got a chance to meet them after the game and have a chat.
That's fantastic. What an amazing opportunity. I mean, that's one of the great things about this school, the fact that it can send on a tour 45 students to the other side of the world, to the home of rugby. I mean, what a fantastic experience for the students.
Oh, it was fantastic for all of us. It was really educational and enlightening. It was great rugby. It was fantastic. It was one of the highlights of my life.
Speaking of rugby, what do you think it is about the game that unites so many people in the Nudgee community? I mean, you see it one Saturday after the other.
That's right.
What can you put it down to?
I think rugby's one of those sports. It's just the camaraderie and the physicality. The boys just love the physicality, the contact. I mean, you see them go down the big ruck and you think, God, are they all going to get up alive? And they get up and shake themselves off and they manage to come through it all. You get the odd injury, but they just love all that. And I think parents just love watching it too. And some of them have been players themselves. It's just a sport that unites the whole community. And it certainly does here at Nudgee.
Do you ever feel conflicted? I mean, I'm a parent, and I imagine I'd want to go, oh, do you ever want to say, go easy out there, or do you say, go hard out there, and then work out? Like, what do you say to the boys before they run out for a game?
Oh, it's really just give it your best shot.
You did mention you're here virtually every day. You're on call for trainings. You're here on Saturdays. Earlier in another episode in this podcast, we spoke with Alex Clark, who was injured on the rugby field, and I believe you were here when he sustained his injury.
Yes.
What do you recall from that day?
It was our day from hell. It was the worst day I've had here, to be honest. We had a practice spinal run in the morning, so everyone was competent with their spinal management skills. And then it started, the place just filled up, the first aid room just filled up very quickly, and I had to go down to the basketball courts to help with an injury down there. And I came back and the casualty list had grown longer, and so I took a couple of boys up to the health centre on the buggy with sprained ankles, and I was coming back down and they said, oh, we've got a spinal on flat too. And I was heading in that direction with the buggy, and there was already 3 responders there, and there was also the referee from a game on the next field who happened by chance, to my absolute luck. He was a Prince Charles emergency doctor.
Wow.
So he had it all under control. And in the meantime, I was heading across flat 1 and there was this big churchy guy lying there unconscious. So I thought, I can't very well leave you on your own. So I dealt with him. I knew that Alex was in good hands. And then we moved on from there. But we had 2 other boys that day that had to be treated with suspected spinal injuries, and we had lots of other concussions. It was just a huge day all round. And then managing the emotion of Alex's injury too. It was hard on everyone.
I bet. And it's funny how, well, not funny, but, you know, there's that saying, when it rains, it pours, and it sounds like that was a day from hell. And I'm sure there's lots of days that are lighthearted and fun, and you're there really as a safety net, and thankfully you're not needed. Mm. And then on some days, you know, your job becomes an extremely serious one.
That's right, and that was one of those days particularly, yes.
Yeah. How do you feel at the end of a day where you really don't do anything? Is that a good day?
Oh, it's a very good day. Good for the players, good for the boys, and a lot less paperwork and less phone calls on a Sunday because I follow up on all the injuries on a Sunday and then send reports back to all the relevant staff. So they're informed of all the concussions and the major injuries.
Oh, talk me through that. So on your Sunday, you have a list of everything that happened on Saturday, and you pick up the phone and you start ringing around everybody to check in?
That's right. The away teams as well as the home teams. So just to make sure the ones that I've been doubtful about, to make sure that they're okay, or to see what investigations they've had done or how they're feeling if they've had a concussion or whatever it may be.
Christine, that's what sets you apart. That's such a commitment to your job.
It's time-consuming.
Time-consuming. But also, I mean, what a wonderful stopgap for the community and also for the parents and, you know, people that come here to compete.
That's right.
Or, you know, wherever they're playing. It doesn't matter where they're playing. To know that you've got that sort of attention to care and detail is really admirable. I've always wanted to ask on a lighter note, when they shine the light in the eye, what are you actually looking for? Because it's always stunned me when they lift the eyelids and they...
It's really just to see if the pupils are equal and reactive, because sometimes with a brain injury you might get a distortion of the pupil or an enlargement or a non-reactivity of the pupil.
All right, let's talk about another topic. Something I love talking about, nutrition. Now, what are you telling the boys here at school when it comes to nutrition? Is it a case of go easy on the pies and the sausage rolls? Or how are you advising them on, and even for the boarders too, and day students, on looking after their body and the value of good nutrition?
I just explain the necessary. They're all growing so fast, they need protein and carbs just for that. But when they get injuries, that's when they need extra. So they really have to focus on good nutrition. And some of them get some really good lectures and get good advice. And if only they'd take it, and I sort of say go lightly on the processed stuff and on the macas, and they'll all just say, oh, it's KFC for lunch. Just to rile me up.
Do you still get cream buns for a morning tea from the dormitories?
I'm not sure.
Oh, we used to look forward to the cream buns. Oh, they were always a highlight. And the meat pies. And you know what? Domino's down the road used to do a $5 large pizza when I was here. So all the boarders would duck down to Domino's. And
they get fed very well here, actually.
Oh, they get fed great here. Are you kidding me? It's fantastic. So for students listening, high protein, get your veggies in.
That's right. Lots of fruit and veg.
Meat pie every now and again?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
And also, to be honest, on game day, do you have any advice for students that are playing on game day? Might be running out onto Wilkes Oval or running out onto the flats.
Oh, just to preload. The smoothie, bananas are great. They've got all your natural sugars and natural electrolytes, and they're easily digested before or after a game. Smoothies are fantastic. You can put anything in a smoothie and make it nutritious.
And hydration?
Oh, yes, hydration's huge.
Look where we play, here in Queensland. It's so hot on certain days. Do you talk to the boys about hydration much?
Yeah, definitely. And to make sure that they think a few sips of water is enough, but hydrating properly is really essential. They've got bubblers down on the flats now where they can access water that way, but we have a couple of eskies full of water bottles for training on a training afternoon, and very popular. Yeah,
I love that. All right, now one topic that I thought I'd never talk about on a Nudgee podcast is skincare. And we're not talking about toners or washes or eye masks. We're talking about sun cream.
That's right.
Someone did make a joke before you came in of like, have you worked out how many litres of sun cream that you've been through in your time here at Nudgee? We should actually pass that on to the grade 11 maths class and see if they can work it out. But I'm guessing sunscreen is probably on your hip pocket most times.
I'm vigilant about sunscreen. I've had several skin cancers removed myself, and because we've got such a high incidence of skin cancer here and melanoma, that's another real problem. 15-year-old boys are dying from melanoma in Queensland. It's just tragic.
Is that right?
So trying to prevent it with sunscreen is high on my list of priorities.
Yeah.
And trying to encourage the boys to wear it. They all think they're invincible, of course. Some of them are very good. But, I always have it available at all the first aid stations and at training, and, trying to encourage them to use it.
And those old myths of I don't need sun cream. My grandfather lived to 96. He never got skin cancer. They're sort of,
They're very much myths. We didn't have sunscreen when I was growing up. We used to use baby oil and bake ourselves.
Oh, God, that'd be the worst thing for you, wouldn't it? Baby oil. Look, you've done so much for the community here. You're here day in, day out. When you look back on your time at Nudgee and you think of all the work that you've done, do you look back on it with a fondness of being part of this community, or do you see it as like, you don't seem like a person who's like, oh boy, I've got to go to work again today?
Heavens, no, it's not like that at all. No, I'm up at 3:30 and by the latest in the mornings, and here by 5:30, and I love it. And the parents really appreciate it, and so do the boys, and that's what makes it so worthwhile. And
go back a step. You're up at 3:30 in the morning. We got to add to this list here. Sleep, Christine. You got to get your sleep.
I worked for night shift at a hospital for 33 years as an after-hours manager, so I'm used to broken sleep and lack of sleep.
What's one of the more common injuries that you have to deal with? And I'm not talking about what are the more common challenging injuries, if that makes sense? I mean, is it like, oh no, we've got a torn ligament, we've got a knee issue, we've got a broken bone? Like what do you hear and go, oh boy, this is going to be tough?
Yeah, anything with a neck involvement is always a red flag, and concussions worry me. But from the player's perspective, any injury is bad injury for them, whether it be ligament or bone. You get a few broken bones, and we get lots of sprained ligaments. So we manage them all accordingly and realise that it's devastating for the player, because it usually means time on the sideline that they don't want, and investigations and time out and rehab.
I'm sure you're there for the moral support too. Like I remember when I was here in 2000, we had an amazing rugby player who tore his ACL on his left knee and spent all year rehabilitating it, and then finally got back out in the first 15, and then tore his right knee's ACL, and it was back to recovery again, to get through that injury. So I'm sure you're there, not just at the moment of injury, but also through that emotional journey of recovery.
Yes, we try and support them through that journey. It's very difficult for them and their families. It's tough because they just want to be out there playing. And when you're on the sideline and when you've got the pain and the rehab of an injury, there's no fun in that.
Totally. All right. Well, look, we've got a couple of questions from students this year, which you don't know what they are, that are coming up, and I'm excited for you to see them. So I'm going to throw to some student questions. We've got 2 of them. And I'll let you take the answers. But here we go with our first student question.
Hi Christine, my name's Louis and I'm a Year 6 here at Nudgee College. What do you reckon is the most enjoyable part of your job?
Oh, it's just the interaction with you boys and the parents. I just find that fun. I've always loved teenage boys. I find them fascinating. I would have loved more kids myself. I only had one. And I just think, teenage boys are amazing.
What was your experience like as a Nudgee mother before you became involved in the sports side of the school?
Yes, it was just a matter of being here for game days, whether it be cricket, track and field, rugby, part of Duggan House mum.
That was my house, great house, Duggan. Yep.
So, just the general involvement. And when I left, I was really quite devastated. I thought, no more Nudgee. I was really quite shell-shocked. And then it was that very next year that I was offered this role, so I just felt truly blessed. Yeah.
I love it. All right, we got one more question for you, Christine. Here it is.
Hi Christine, I'm Leo Vardenaga, a Year 6 student from Nudgee College. I've been injured at Nudgee a couple of times, and every single time the next morning you call my mum to see if I'm okay. Obviously you care for the Nudgee students. What makes you go the extra mile?
Oh, that's just the sort of person I am. I'm just nosy. No, I just like to follow up and be sure that everyone is safe and well. And if they're not, we take the appropriate action.
Oh, that gave me goosebumps listening to that young student. He's like grateful that you call his mum to give her updates.
The students and the parents are very grateful. I get lots of positive feedback from them regarding the care that we provide. It's not just me. I've got a team of helpers on game days that I recruit, and we all provide a service that parents enjoy.
Oh, it's so
and
amazing.
Appreciate.
Absolutely. I think I know the answer to this, but tell me, what do you think it is that's kept you at Nudgee for so long?
Oh, what else would I be doing? I mean, I'm closer to 70 than 60, but I'm going to be here for as long as I possibly can because I just love it. And I think it's a necessary service. You have to take care of these players when they're down there on the flats in the mornings and after school. You can't just leave them to their own advice and expect the coaching staff to deal with the injuries. That just wouldn't help. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah,
so it's just the care factor.
Yeah.
And that's what Nudgee's all about. We've got so many caring, wonderful people here in this community. The health centre staff, just the boarding staff, they're amazing. Everyone, they're just fantastic.
I remember when I was here, the health centre staff were second mums.
That's right.
When I was boarding in grade 11 and 12, like you knew all the nurses, and I still remember them by name. But like, what would you have done without them at the time? It really is an amazing service and community. And even with your role, it's not so much. It's great to have you there when things are good, but really it's when things don't go to plan that having you there is such an amazing service, and what you provide is phenomenal for our students, and that level of care is unparalleled. So thank you. I have one last question for you, Christine, and it's one we're asking everybody on the podcast this season, is if you could give one piece of advice to people listening on how to achieve their goals in life, what would you say to them?
I'll never give up. Persistence and perseverance and just being true to yourself. Go that extra mile, make it happen. You might have to make sacrifices, but go for whatever you hope to achieve.
Well, Christine, you certainly go that extra mile. And I know so many in the community over the last, 20 years, 25 years, including your time here as a mother, are grateful for all the hard work that you've put in. And I know you've definitely left a mark on this community. So thank you for being there every Saturday. Thank you for being there on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning, probably at 5 a.m. on the flats where it's 3 degrees, and supporting the students at the school, because your service is certainly one that doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks, Wes. And it's an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be here. I love it. And I just think it's one of those necessary roles.
Well, thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Christine is a beloved member of the Nudgee College community, and you only have to say her name to a current parent or a old boy of the school, and they will readily recount a story of how Christine went above and beyond to look after them or their son. Now, if you are ready to hear from more Nudgee heroes, then stay tuned to our final episode of the series with none other than cricket legend and Nudgee old boy Joe Burns.
There's 85,000 people. We were playing against India. Massive occasion, a test match that I've watched every year growing up as a kid. So it's a very surreal feeling. I certainly remember receiving my baggy green and sitting around waiting. That's what you don't prepare for. But yeah, it's an amazing experience. I think I was 24, 25 years old. You look back now and you realise how young you were and how naive you were. I think I'd be a lot more nervous now at 35 years old and knowing what you're exposing yourself to, the sheer magnitude of the people that are watching. So
if you loved this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your mates. Unscripted, my Nudgee hero. It's all about us, past, present, and future.